Hello and welcome to a very special episode of Happy Mum, Happy Baby, the podcast. Now, this is following on from this week's Parenting SOS, in which we talked to Elliot Ray all about paternal mental health. And this week, on this special episode, a past guest actually got in touch wanting to talk about a specific topic with her husband on our show, and I couldn't say no, and also it felt like this was the perfect week to talk about it. So, welcome, Lily, Pebbles and Rich.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
How are we
Thanks for having
both?
us.
Good, I'm a bit nervous.
Are you?
I am a bit nervous. How are you?
Don't be. I'm nervous, but I'm fully up for this.
So we're obviously talking about paternal mental health.
Yeah.
And Lily, you got in touch a couple of months ago because you realised that it was an area that you've not necessarily talked about, and you actually want to delve into it a lot more. And also, Rich, you're quite private, so this is a weird thing for you to be sort of on here spilling your experience.
Yeah, this is the first experience doing this, so excuse me if I mumble or trip over my words.
You're fine. It's a very welcoming space.
I'm very excited to do it.
Thank you.
And I think we should talk about it.
Yeah.
I think, that's the thing. I could easily just carry on living my life and not sharing this and not talking about it. But I think it's really important to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
And I think good things happen when you do open up and talk about things. You can help other people and just, we were saying on the way here, often when we feel nervous and uncomfortable, it's normally a good sign. It means something good is coming. It's good to be out of your comfort zone sometimes. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the last time we spoke, Lily, you had one. You had one little bubba.
Yeah, well,
I think she was about to turn 1.
Yeah, that is crazy. And now, so she is 4.
Yep.
Wow.
I know.
I mean, I know my kids have grown up, but your kids grow up. Wow.
Yeah. And it's actually so nice because I do feel like I was in a bit of like a 2-year postpartum bubble.
Yeah.
I feel like it's taken me longer to get over having my first than my second.
Yeah.
And we've got Rudy, who is 17 months.
No.
Yeah, he's cute.
And how is life with 2 now?
It's full on.
Yeah.
It is full on.
But it's fun, and I wouldn't change it, and it's great. But yeah, it is full on, and we're doing a lot. Is just trying to raise them and think about like trying to keep them entertained and.
But they play with each other, which is really cute. It is kind of helpful having another one.
Yeah.
Because I feel like she'd be a bit bored without him.
Yeah.
And now that he's a bit older, they can like go on the trampoline together and they do play together and it's really cute.
Does she take care of him?
Yeah, she's very maternal.
Oh.
She takes care of him. She also kind of like, he kind of like beats her up actually. She's a bit scared of him.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
It's very tactical as well. He will like nip her.
Oh, really?
He
Just
already knows.
enough?
Yeah,
Just a little
just enough.
something?
Yeah. He's only 18
Yeah,
months.
he's
He knows.
definitely the annoying younger brother. I can see that already. But they either love each other or they're fighting. It's like typical.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a much bigger gap between my siblings, so I can't imagine being 2.5 years apart. You've got that with your siblings, so they're probably more similar to how you were with yours, but it's very cute.
Yeah. So first time round, you took maternity leave.
Yeah.
And but then second time round, you decided to switch things up a little bit.
So we've talked about it, and we thought it just made sense for Lily to go back to work. She's doing great. She's got this great career. I loved my company, but it wasn't the industry I wanted to stay in. And so I thought I might as well take advantage of their policies and do the paternity leave for a couple of months and then see where my head's at and just take it from there. And so I just went full-time stay-at-home dad.
But they offered, didn't they? Because I wasn't taking maternity, you could take the full, wasn't it like 9 months?
I could do a year, but it was staggered. So it was first 3 months was full pay, then 6 months it was like half pay, and then it just went down from there.
Yeah.
Similar to maternity leave, I think, for most companies.
Yeah.
So they applied that for the partners, for the dads.
So you did 4 days a week with Rudy, and I went back to work just after 6 weeks. But obviously, because of my job, I'm only upstairs. I wasn't going back to like an office full time. It just like financially made more sense. It didn't make sense for Rich to go back and not me. And I'm not really sure what the ideal situation would have been. I'm not really sure. When I look back, I'm like, what would I have wanted? Sometimes I think, I wish I could take a year off like my friends do. But obviously I know the realities of what maternity leave is actually like, and it's not a year off. So we thought, let's just give it a go and see. And
I wanted to have a go.
Rich wanted to do it, yeah, exactly.
And did you set yourself the thing of having a year?
Yes, I think we did. I think it was like, let's see what happens in a year's time and then take it from there.
Yeah.
And that was the first thing. We had a newborn, we had a young kid. And you couldn't think, you think from day to day. You just survive each day.
It was quite different to what we thought. I think naively we thought that it would be a great chance for Rich to spend that time rethinking his career. He wanted to kind of pivot into something different. And obviously, I think as we all know, there isn't really time to do anything when you're looking after a baby. No. So that was a bit of a reality check for both of us.
Yeah.
But I think at the beginning, the first 6 months, I think you really enjoyed it, just taking that break from work.
Yeah. It was using a different part of my brain.
Yeah.
And I found it so rewarding as well. And I used to, when Lily came down from work, when like for lunchtime or in the afternoon, I used to be like, oh, we did this, and I took him to the playground, and I made him this dinner. I learned to cook. Like I could cook, but I was reading recipes. I was like thinking about his nutrition, and I was thinking about what to do with him. And I was like, wow, I'm like literally raising a child. I'm molding him, and it was so rewarding. At the end of the day, I was so tired, but it was also way more rewarding. I was like cloud nine. I was loving it, and it was tiring. And there were moments where I was just like, oh my God, how am I going to get through this? Yeah. But you do. And I think it was more of the case. Then it started to, I don't know, cause it's hard. I started to develop like anxiety. I've never suffered, as far as where I suffered from anxiety before. I didn't really know people who have had it. I never really spoke to them about it, which now looking back, I should have. And it was as it was coming up to his sort of first birthday that year, and I think also because it was winter as well, I was starting to get like these health anxiety, or start worrying about my health. And there's always an example, I always use the example of in the afternoon, he used to have his afternoon nap, 12 till 2, 3 o'clock, and I used to go get him. We used to come downstairs, and I'd have to go and get Gray from nursery at like 4:30. So there was always this like hour window of what do I do with Rudy? Yeah. I've like run out of energy of like being creative, thinking of games to do with him, and it was dark, and I just used to sit there like Google. I used to like suddenly became so hyper aware of my body, and I was like Googling things, and like Lily used to like pop down for a coffee. She's like, "Are you okay, Rich? Like, what are you doing?" Like, you just go into this sort of, I don't know, this dark tunnel. You go into this rabbit hole of Googling, and I wasn't aware of Rudy, and I feel so bad about it, that I didn't give him my full attention.
What would you have been Googling?
Just like, oh, I've got like a pain in my tummy. What are the symptoms? How do I treat it? But it always takes you down the wrong hole. And it always takes you to the really serious diseases. And I didn't know how to get out of it.
It happened quite suddenly, this health anxiety thing. So Rich has never, ever suffered from anxiety at all. I think what we realised after, which we'll go into because he did go to therapy, is that when we first had Gray, that kind of triggered it. When we had Gray, you know how they come and they do the little heel prick tests? Yeah. So hers kept coming back as inconclusive, which happens sometimes when they got dry little feet, And we got a phone call from a midwife on Friday saying, just to let you know, the test results are inconclusive. Your daughter might have cerebral palsy. We'll let you know on Monday. That's the phone call we got.
Wow.
And I happen to be like quite a rational person. I'm quite good at not allowing myself to worry about things until there's something to worry about. I just force myself. I don't want to spend my whole weekend freaking out if there's nothing to freak out about. So I'm quite good at just going, that's going to go there. We'll see. Yeah. We've got a baby to look after. We'll deal with it. Rich, I remember, I'll never forget, he just went pale. And you have this face, and I know this face now because it's like now you get it all the time. But you just go pale and just blank. And I was like, oh, okay, this has really freaked him out. And he spent the whole weekend freaking out, crying, was very, very worried. Obviously, it came back and everything was fine. And then he went back to work, and we just talked about the whole year, and nothing, fine. You had work as a distraction. But I think what happened is after looking after Rudy, when it, like you said, after about 9 months, when you'd handed in your notice at his job because he realised he wanted to get a new job, it was winter. You didn't really know when this end going back to work was. I think that's what triggered this health anxiety. And like neither of us had ever heard of health anxiety before. We don't know anyone with it.
And I didn't really know I had it. I just went into these dark spaces.
And... But I knew you had it because I would come downstairs from work and he'd have that blank look on his face. And I'd say, what's wrong? And he'd be like, just got this like thing under my armpit. I don't know if it's a lump or not. It would be like a gland or something. And I'd be like, oh, okay, well, maybe you see how it is in a couple of days. but he just didn't have that like rational. He's normally really rational. It was this panic. And I'd find him Googling, and like you said, you'd be blank. Rudy would be sitting there. I'd be like, "Are you okay? Are you going to give him lunch?" And it was just like he was like gone, and it just got worse and worse to the point where I like found it's not funny. It was just so crazy. Like looking back at it now, like taking his blood pressure. I was like, I didn't even know we had a blood pressure machine. He bought a blood pressure machine. Apparently, the GP told him to do it, which makes me angry. But obviously, they didn't know, and it kind of just got worse and worse. And the thing with health anxiety is it seems a bit wild when you don't know about it, but he would literally think he had cancer one day, and then 3 days later you think he was going to have a heart attack, and it would just bounce from one extreme thing to the other. There was one week you went to the GP 3 times.
Yeah. And just trying to, they're trying to tell them about the symptoms and everything, and they didn't quite understand. And it's not their fault, but when you talk about health anxiety, I think it's hard to diagnose and hard to help treat it.
You didn't know you had health anxiety. You thought they were real.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Symptoms.
But there needs to be more support or more training, I guess, in terms of understanding. Oh, actually, is this more of a mental health, OCD type of situation, OCD diagnosis?
Because I guess on the outside we can all go, well, you went to see the doctor 3 times in 1 week. Surely the doctor should have been flagged. Kind of going,
yeah,
he's been here 3 times.
But just sent me home.
It was hard to know what was a real symptom or what, because you could get. What I found is you were giving yourself stomach cramps from overthinking and getting worried and getting anxious, and you didn't know. I don't know if you get anxiety, but when I do, I get that kind of funny feeling in my tummy. I've always had it a bit, so I know how to control it. Whereas you didn't know what was anxiety and what was a real pain,
because I've never been aware of my body.
Yeah,
and then suddenly I'd feel this pain, and then I would like, oh, let me push it, let me like manipulate it, and then the next day I'll make it worse.
Yeah.
And I just kept going, and I had all I was thinking about was that, and not being able to just take a step back and think about Rudy, my life, what I've got to do, Lily, great, and just being more present. And I didn't do that, and
I felt really guilty because obviously I thought, well, look, Rich has taken a year off, he's done the paternity. And look what it's done. It's like ruined him. Look what it's done. And I felt so bad. I did have some people, especially the older generation, people say like, this is why the women do it, because men obviously can't handle it, which then made me feel even worse. So there was a lot of like
Well,
guilt.
you carry a lot of guilt anyway, because Rich taking maternity leave is something that you haven't really talked about.
Yeah, exactly. So I never publicly said that Rich took paternity leave. I don't know. I don't even know why. I think, when you're in it, you just don't need the judgment.
Yeah.
We've got this like ongoing joke online where everyone says like poor Rich, and it's because it's like it used to be my most commonly like hater comment, poor Rich, because people used to think like, I was like this awful wife that would like interrupt him or like not, that narrative of like poor Rich, Lily's such a what. So I just like, oh God, this is just playing into that even more. Like poor Rich, Lily's making him quit his job.
quit my job.
Obviously not the case.
Get anxiety.
Yeah, I was just like this. I was like, I just didn't need that extra judgment.
Yeah.
It's really hard as a mum to like juggle it all, and I think it also is made a bit harder that my job. Like I think with any job that looks a bit glamorous, it's harder. If I was like a lawyer or an accountant, I think everyone would just be quite respectful and be like, okay, yeah, she's got an important job. She's got to get back to work. But I think it's quite hard that my job looks fun most of the time. So.
People didn't understand your job. Even now, people don't understand your job.
Yeah.
And then also me quitting my job, people didn't understand. So people just didn't know how to handle us or talk to us.
There's judgment from all over. Your friends would be like, oh, this must be so nice having some time off.
Yeah.
Which like is the hardest year of my life.
Hardest. That was the hardest year of my life. I would do it all again.
Yeah.
I would do it knowing now what I was going through and being more prepared and having the coping mechanisms in place. And I got that time with Rudy, which was great, and Gray as well.
Is it hard, like looking back, because obviously it happened later on in your paternity leave? Is it difficult to not let it cloud, or is it important to not let it cloud everything that came before it, like the good times that you did have with Rudy?
Yes, and I try and remind myself even now of the good times. And actually, that was a blip or a moment of. That was a moment of time with Rudy, And I need to remind myself I did have great times. There were so many great times. We went off, to the farms. I got to find out all these different cool playgrounds. I was like researching the best playgrounds in London and around surrounding area. And it was just great, taking them there and getting to explore, and taking Gray as well, when I had both of them for a couple of days. And it was great fun. So I need to remind myself of those days, because that does help you a lot, and that does help with my mental health a lot.
The grass is always greener, isn't it? And I feel like that really comes in with parenting. Like, you would be off, a lot of my family work for themselves, so you'd like be with my family having a barbecue, and I'd be like, oh, I wish I could do that. Or like he would do something and I'd miss it, and I'd be, but then, and you think, oh, I wish I was working. But that's what we really had to do. We had to make sure we didn't compare or compete. I'm more tired than you. I've had a harder day than you. That's something we really made sure early on not to do.
Also, I didn't really have anyone to talk to.
Yeah.
Like another dad or other parents to talk to. I went to baby classes, and at the start as well, I was probably like the only dad there. And it was a real like, oh, where's the mum? Have you taken a day off today to look after kids? That was the questions. And it was only sort of in the last couple of months now that I've started to notice more dads going to baby classes, and it's become more of a norm, which is great.
Well, so much, I think, of stepping into that role, whether it's a mum or a dad. I sound like I said mama. Whether it's a mum or a dad, it's that almost that loss of identity. You're not who you were before. That not being able to have those conversations that you would normally have, being fulfilled on an intellectual level.
Yeah.
So much of that disappears when you're on your own.
Yeah, it's gone.
Yeah.
And also, especially because we didn't really know what I was going to do next, or when this was going to not end, but what was the plan. And I think that really affected me as well, in terms of not knowing what to do. Now we've got a plan, and we've had to say, like, right, Rich, you need to do something else. You need something more in your life, which I think is a bit of advice that I would give people, is that if you can, especially with your when you're in, or especially first year of as parents, is to try and give each other a bit of time, support, communicate, and just give them a Saturday morning just to go get a coffee, read a book, or go to Pilates or yoga or run, whatever, just a couple of hours away from the kids, just to have a bit of your time to do something, start a hobby. That was the thing. I'm very much into my fitness. I love triathlons and running and stuff. So I thought I would be able to still do that, but I was like running at nighttime or doing the odd thing, and by then nighttime as well, you're so tired. So I didn't have anything to really look forward to in a sad way. Like, I loved looking after him, but it was also, I didn't have my other hobbies or interests to carry on.
It sounds like it's made you really think about your time. You know what I mean? And so even going back to work, that's your time. Yeah. And how do you carve time within that? How do you still have that time that is yours, that fulfills you? Yeah. Because I think so much of being the primary caregiver in that way is you're handing over your identity, and you get a little bit lost. Yeah. And in terms of purpose, your purpose is literally keep this baby alive every day. Yeah. With your health anxiety, was it something that happened very, very gradually?
I think so. I think it was a case of, I think it was when Gray and we had those test results was a triggering point. Yeah. Triggered it. And I think it simmered down. And then I think when it came back around with Rudy, it really bubbled up with, I think I had a pain somewhere in my tummy, I think it was. And that's all I just focused on. And from then onwards, over those, 3-4 months, I was just fixated on my body. What is that pain in there? What's that? I was so hyper aware of my whole body, which I'd never done before. Yeah. I never knew you could. And then you make the symptoms worse. So then the symptoms do get worse, and you're building this up in your head, and you're like, wow, I really need to go see someone, really need help. And that's all you're thinking about is your own health. And it's also, I think it's because I was trying to think back, why did I develop this? How did this come about? And I think it's also, I've suddenly become in charge of this child, and I need to stay alive for this child, as long as possible, to keep them alive and show them good morals and values. And that felt like a lot of pressure, which I didn't realize at the time. But now looking back, I think there was a lot of pressure I gave myself to be there, present, and to be there for him. So I think that also was a triggering moment for me.
It's hard to understand health anxiety at first because I couldn't understand right at the beginning. He wasn't worried about Rudy or Gray or me getting sick or dying or anything. It was purely just about himself, which seemed really confusing at first, especially when he's like such a fit, healthy, he runs, like there's nothing wrong with him. But then like I started to look into it and understand it's a real mental health thing, and it just, nothing I could say would make it better. There was no point. At the beginning I was trying to make it feel, but you find it's nothing that, and it doesn't, you can't hear it.
No.
Even the doctor saying it didn't help. The only thing that helped in the end was trying to restrict the time, like not Googling. I'd get really upset if I told him not to Google and then he would Google, because I just felt like he was self-harming. I was like, but why are you doing it when you know it's going to make you feel bad?
Yeah. So I ended up, luckily, one of my friends is a psychologist, child psychologist, but he helped me. He's like, right, move Google away. Put Google, hide it away in your apps. Don't have it on your main page. That really helped. And so I was doing less Googling, or like limit it, do it like 5 minutes and then turn it off and think about something else. And don't think about your body. You know, spend half an hour thinking about your kid or something else, watch TV, and try and just forget about what that was, what your body's doing. And then that just kind of gradually, those sort of coping mechanisms started to help think, oh, okay, I went half an hour, didn't feel that pain. Oh, okay, that's not, actually, maybe that is in my head.
Yeah.
And then also listening to like Headspace and mindful apps.
Yeah, you'd go upstairs. If I came downstairs and you had that pale look, I'd say
panic.
just go upstairs. I'd stayed with Rudy and you'd go lie on the bed and listen to
for like 20 minutes.
Meditation.
Yeah, just zoning out. And that really helped. And books as well. I just started reading books about happiness and, you know, just on those.
Thinking about what you're putting in.
Yeah. And that really helped.
And therapy.
And then therapy. Luckily, I was able to go to have therapy for a few sessions, and she was really helpful on that and gave me like ways. She just crystallized it for me, and I was just like, it was just like an epiphany. I was just like, oh yeah, that you're right. And now I need to go back and start doing other stuff. Some people can, you know, love to look after their kids, and that's their job, and that's what they do. Some people need to have other things going on in their life, and that's me. I need to have something else and start using other parts of my brain, and that's what's really helped me. Now Rudy's now at nursery a couple of days a week, and now I've got that time to start focusing on my career, what I want to do next, and that's also helped a lot with me. And so far, touch wood, I've been in a good space.
Yeah.
And I think it is that distraction of just, you know, that continuous distraction is helping a lot.
What would you say to anyone listening who might be worried about their paternal mental health? What advice would you give?
I think talk to your partner and just open up, or to a friend, someone that you feel like could listen, is a good listener, and help you. And also, I think there's, I think if you look online, I didn't look online. I didn't know about these forums and places online that other dads or partners have set up. And I think there should be online resources, and especially Instagram and social media as well. I'm sure if you look and search from that, you'll find places like people on there who are talking about it, giving some form of advice, and you can just start that, message them, because they will respond and they will talk to you.
You're quite open and confident, like when you go to baby groups. I think maybe because it's our second and our first, that like talking to other people and just having that confidence, like not being like, oh God, I might be the only dad, so I'm not going to go. Just like going and getting involved.
Yeah. And I didn't feel ashamed of having this anxiety, this health anxiety. So I think that helped me open up quite quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how to help people. I don't know what's the best advice to give someone who does feel ashamed of it. But I think the best thing is just to start talking to your partner or someone, a family member, that can then help you start on the road to. And then if you're lucky enough to be able to go to therapy, then therapy is a very good tool to use and to be able to talk to.
I guess the flip side of that, what advice would you give to someone who thinks their partner or someone that they know might be struggling?
Yeah, that's it.
Well, I guess that would be kind of me, isn't it? So just, again, I just think open communication and like being supportive, because even right at the beginning where I didn't really fully understand it, it's about like not getting angry, even though, you know, I was like kind of worried about Rudy. I was trying to work and I was thinking, you just need to look after him. And it's hard to not get frustrated and angry at the beginning, but just like taking a minute, taking a breath, understanding what that person might be going through and just talking. It's really hard when there's kids around, but at the end of the day, when the kids would go to sleep, we would always sit down and be like, right now, this is I know we've got a million things to do and we just want to sit and watch TV or whatever, but taking a chance to sit and talk through like, how was your day? Not just assume that they did nothing interesting on that day. Like, how was your day? You tell me what your achievements you made today. Like, and talking about future plans and just communication. I always say that. It's just the most important thing. And how can I help you? How can I support you? Like, do you want me to help find someone for you to talk to? Like, do you want me to sit with the kids for a while so you can have a break?
Yeah.
Offering up your help, basically.
It's such a massive topic that I think is only just being started. Like, only just people are talking about it.
We don't want to put people off. This is the thing we said on the way here. We were like, we don't want to put people off doing paternity leave.
No.
It all sounds a bit like doom and gloom, but then there's no different for women. Like,
but then you think about the first 9 months or so,
Exactly.
it was a great time.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And,
Yes.
and actually, this is something that has happened within it, but you can't let it overshadow everything else. And what a gift, I think, that we are able to be in a society where dads can also share in those
Absolutely.
rules.
So I think our learning from that is having, maybe if we were to do it again, it's having that plan of what happens at the end. Because at the end of the 9 months, you didn't want to go back to your job, so you handed in your notice, and then we didn't have a solid plan. Like, now you're fine, you have a plan, but if we were to do it again, having that, what happens after the 9 months?
Yeah.
Same with Gray, I didn't have a plan. So trying to plan as much as you can, something to look forward to, knowing there's like an end to it, because then you can just appreciate that time you have off.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought I was going to be making marmalade, close out of curtains, all sorts. Didn't happen.
Mad, isn't it?
No,
Yeah.
never mind. So I end each episode with you completing 3 sentences. I've changed one around. But the first one is being a parent means.
Am I doing this again? Even
Yes,
though
you are.
What?
Come on, it's the 3 years on. It's going to have changed. Being a parent means. This is when I put fear into people.
Yeah.
They've been talking freely, and all of a sudden they just get really quite
Feel like you
stressed.
have to say something really profound.
I planned it last
It can be a couple of words. It doesn't really matter. Being a parent means.
Okay, I'm going to go cheesy.
You do that.
Because I do think I laugh at least once every day.
No.
And that's the nice part of parenting. I probably cry as well, but no, but there's something funny happens every day with the kids, and that's the best thing about having kids, I think.
Yeah. Being a parent means?
Being a parent means seeing it through the kids' perspective, seeing it through their eyes, and it's so refreshing. You know, you walk through the park and you're showing them leaves, clouds, and it's simple things like that you get to like experience again, and it's great. It's really refreshing and really grounding.
I love that. Next sentence is, if I could tell you one thing, it would be.
Everything is a phase. Everything is a phase. No matter what is happening at the current time, it will pass and there'll be something new. So whatever you're going through, it's a phase.
Okay. If I could tell you one thing, it would be.
If I could tell you one thing, it would be, I always just feel like, I don't know if you can put this, but I just feel like I'm a personal chef or waiter.
Yeah.
Whereas like
servant.
I
Yeah.
feel like I'm a servant.
Yeah.
And you're like,
If I could tell you one thing, it would be, I feel like I'm a servant.
feel like a servant. Prepare yourself to be in a servant.
Well, Matt Willis, actually, the start of the last series, he said that he's realised that for him, parenthood is service.
Yes.
Yeah.
And actually, I think that's such a beautiful way of looking at it,
Yeah.
the relentlessness of it. You know, it's that service that you are almost providing and giving. And
But it is amazing how you kind of want to, like with anyone else, I'd be like, get it yourself. I'm like, okay, bread, toast, what do you want
Yeah.
on it?
I'm
Like,
sorry,
you
did I
just
butter
want-
that wrong? Let me do it again.
Yeah, cut
And you
it in
just do
triangles or
it.
squares.
Don't get that wrong.
Ugh.
Yeah.
And finally, I'm happy when.
I'm happy when I'm on the trampoline and I'm just lying on the trampoline and my kids are just jumping around me and falling on me and it's warm and sunny outside and it's the end of the day. I've come down from work and I just like love those moments where we're just in it and we're present and there's no phones and it's great.
I love that.
That's really nice. That is a good one. I'm happy when I think it's when we're on like holidays and just seeing the kids play in the pool, especially now they're a bit older.
Yeah.
And just enjoying life. They're really enjoying that moment. And they're, again, like living in that moment, making me live in that moment without my phone or worrying about anything else going on and just living it through them.
Yeah. There's certainly something about holidays where you realise how much external noise is always there. You know, whether that's, we've got to get out the door because we've got to go to this place, or that, like, there's always, they're being pushed around a little bit, I think.
Yeah.
Whereas with holidays, everyone gets to just be.
Yeah. I feel like parenting is just a constant pull between wanting time to pass and wanting time to stand still at the same time. Like we were just saying earlier, I can't wait till the kids are older and we're doing this. And then I'm like, but don't grow up. Like,
But even when you're talking about marvelling at trees and stuff, I'm like, oh my God, now my kids don't necessarily do that. Well, they do. They love like getting my phone now and doing like the little images so they can find out what the plants are.
Oh, yeah.
But they're now going like 100 miles an hour past all that stuff on their bikes with me just running past and they're like, slow down.
It's not like, look at this flower.
Look, darling, look
What colour is it?
Yeah. None of that nice like gentleness. It's just mayhem.
Yeah.
So that it has made me realise how fast it's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much, guys. I know that this has been like such a personal topic to you both that you wanted to talk about. And like we say, like if it can help one person, then that's an amazing thing, because we talk about maternal mental health so much. And even then, that's a new thing that people are talking about. But to talk about paternal mental health is equally as important. So thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.